Hi everyone, this is Tea with Marie and Everything British. Just joining you today from sunny Florida. I'm just about to introduce a new product line on our website, on our online store, which is a Bakewell Tart. I love Bakewell Tart. It used to be a very favorite of customers in my tea shop, and also the supreme favorite of my children. For her 21st birthday party, my daughter asked for a whole Bakewell tart. Now we made Bakewell tarts in the half sheet pan, so that was a lot of Bakewell tart, and it's still a favorite of theirs. I have to be careful when I'm making it not to eat it. I particularly like the raw cake mixture that goes into it, which I guess that comes from childhood. Do you remember licking the bowl when your mom made cookies and things? So anyway, looking a little bit more into, as I say, we're going to be introducing it. You'll be able to see it on our website in the online store. And that will be the same recipe that I've always used, that sort of came down from my mom. We used it in A Taste of Britain, and we use it now in Tea with Marie. So a little bit of the history of Bakewell Tart. Well, first of all, Bakewell is a town in England. And that's where Bakewell Tart sort of originated. Now, the reason I say sort of originated is that it was not, in the beginning, a tart. It was Bakewell pudding. Now, for the Americans that are listening to this, a pudding in England is very different from your pudding here, which is like the soft kind of custardy things that you have here. A pudding in England is sort of a generic term for a dessert, but it's usually a hot dessert, usually a sticky kind of dessert. And that's known as a pudding. So Bakewell Tart originated as a pudding. So what was included in that, it was a flaky pastry dough. And then it was filled with a custard, which I think is different here too than it is in England. The custard is like, well, it's basically made of eggs and milk, and it sort of sets into a gelatinous kind of thing. I don't know if I'm describing this very well. I'll show you a picture later. And so you had the flaky pastry, then you had a layer of strawberry preserve, and then you had this mixture on the top of that. And almond paste was mixed in with the egg custard mixture. And then that was baked in the oven. So that was the original Bakewell pudding. And the first recorded recipe of that was found to have been recorded in 1836. So it's got a pretty long history. So the tale goes, now we never quite know how true some of these things are. Food history is pretty interesting because some things are just kind of tales passed down, and some things there's actual facts and proof for. But the tale was that Mrs. Greaves, who's the landlady of the White Horse Inn in Bakewell, in the late 1800s, left instructions for her cook to make this Bakewell pudding for an event that they were having that evening. Now, the cook misread the recipe. And so rather than doing it in the right order, she put the cake mixture, the almond marzipan on first. And so that kind of became a tart. And from there on, because that original one, it was a tart, but it was still made with a flaky pastry. So anyway, somewhere in the 1900s, the actual Bakewell Tart as we know it recipe came to be. Now, the Bakewell Tart as we know it is a pastry crust. Now, that can be a short crust pastry, or we made it with a sweet pastry. And then it has a layer of preserve, now I don't know if there is a particular one that is sort of the authentic. I use raspberry preserve because I think it has that little tang to it that takes away a little bit of the sweetness of everything. But I've seen it made with apricot preserve. I've seen it made with strawberry preserve. And then it has what I call an almond cake mixture, but it's a very, very rich cake mixture. It has a lot of eggs, and then ground almonds, and then almond essence and flour and butter. The kind of technical name for this is frangipan, but that's what I like to eat raw. so that is laid on top of the jam, and then that's baked in the oven, and it sets. And then when it comes out of the oven, there are various different decorations. Now, there's always arguments about this because the traditional one supposedly had toasted almonds and then like confectioner's sugar. On the top, we call it icing sugar, sort of shaken on the top, and I'll show you a picture of that in a little while. But from there, people started to add the actual icing, like fondant icing, on top of the cake mixture, rather than just the almonds. And from there, some people added a cherry just to make it look nice on top of the icing. So really, that should be called cherry bakewell, and you will find in England even packaged bakewell, they'll be called cherry bakewells, and they'll have that on. So one interesting thing about the bakewell pudding, and you'll see this, that it often has a bad kind of description put with it, which is it looks like a cow pat. And it does, you'll see that. So in a national survey in 2015, the Craft Bakery Week, a quarter of the respondents chose Bakewell Tart as their favorite. So it certainly is a national treasure. Now, apparently 3 shops in Bakewell still sell the Bakewell pudding. They say using the classic recipe. But I doubt that you can get it many other places because it's questionable. So anyway, I'll share my screen here, hopefully, and you will be able to see the difference in these 3. So this top one here, as you can see, it looks a little bit like a cow pat, is the Bakewell pudding, the original. And then I'm going to go down the bottom here because this one is the Bakewell Tart that has the almonds and the sprinkling of sugar. Now, I'm not sure which one it was, but in one of the Great British Baking shows, people were asked, one of the tasks was to make a Bakewell Tart, and many made them with a very fancy top with fondant icing and pipe flowers. And apparently there was a lot of people wrote in complaining and saying that that wasn't the authentic recipe. It's amazing what people fight about. And then this one here is the cherry bakewell. This one is more like the one that we will be selling, except we're not selling it with the cherry on top because it doesn't travel well like that. So anyway, once again, Marie from Tea with Marie and Everything British. Hoping that you can join us. You can find us on Facebook with It's Tea with Marie Chat. Also, I make weekly videos. I'd love it if you subscribed, or look at our website, which is It's Tea with Marie, ITSTEAWITHMARIE.com. Okay, thank you. Bye.